Shopify grows your business no matter how far or big you grow. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Whether you're selling your fans' next favorite shirt or an exclusive piece of podcast merch, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Allbirds, Rothy's, Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow, grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in.
This summer is an excellent time to use our wonderful sponsor, Venue Llama.
VenueLlama.com. It's a new site that tells you everything that you need to know about the venue. Yeah, it's rated by us. It's like Yelp, but for venues.
Yeah, it is where live music fans share helpful insider venue reviews and information based on our own experiences, which that's who I want to get my information from going to a show.
Yeah, so we're all busy this summer going to shows and stuff. You want to go to the Sphere. You want to go to Mondegreen that just happened. What are those venues like?
Yeah, they have an entire breakdown of Dick's Sporting Goods Park up there. All the venues that we all love and go to, rated by fans that know the score. Like, what's the security like? What are the hotels around there like? What's the parking and rideshare thing like? Water policies, bag policies.
Where is there to eat around there? What's the parking like?
So
there's so many things.
Go to VenueLlama.com to sign up for your free Llama account and start rating and sharing your insider venue info today. Llamas can also list their favorite scene-friendly businesses, websites, or podcasts on the Venue Llama Friends page. Go to VenueLlama.com. Check it out. Get yourself some info. Be in the know. You don't want to go without being in the know. VenueLlama.com. ShopTourbus.com. ShopTourbus.com.
And
I'm going to say it 3 times. ShopTourbus.com.
at Shop Tour Bus on Instagram. And what are you going to do there when you get there?
You're going to see the coolest Grateful Dead inspired t-shirts, hoodies, hats, stickers, and otherwise ever created on the digital lot or the real lot anywhere on the planet.
They have been at this for a while, so if you have a favorite song or a favorite song lyric, chances are you're going to find the shirt to match it. I love these every time I wear one of mine.
You're wearing it now.
Yeah, I am wearing one now. It is an icebreaker. People that don't know the Grateful Dead even ask what it is and comment on how cool they are.
Yeah, so get your conversation starter in the form of a t-shirt or hoodie or sticker. And when you get that, you order that, it is going to come to you in a hand-designed box with a bunch of little extras. Some of us might even get a miracle bootleg in that said box.
You might even get a cassette tape with Grateful Dead on it. That's bootlegged. The real thing from Shop Tour Bus. Also, you're getting free shipping. Put in the promo code NoSimpleRoad when you order, and you're getting free shipping from the friends over at Shop Tour Bus. ShopTourbus.com.
No Simple Road. Yeah, here we go.
I know the road that may seem to go on forever and a lifetime.
It's kind of weird, like doing an intro for something that's going to come out later when you're going to be somewhere, because we're literally somewhere else right now, but we're here.
So we're not. We're figuratively somewhere else right now.
Yes, but we're literally here.
We're probably, as you're listening to this in the morning, sleeping.
Hopefully.
After night one
or
at
not.
Dick's and preparing for Friday night fish.
Hey now, No Simple Road family, it's Aaron.
It's Mel.
And it's Apple.
And you're back with us for another episode of No Simple Road. Do I hear cheering?
Woo!
Do I hear clapping?
Yeah.
I hope so.
No Simple Road is back.
This
in the
week's
house.
guest on No Simple Road is our friends from Danger Muffin.
Woo! We had Dan and Andrew of Danger Muffin, and to commemorate them and what an amazing time we had. We have this little fun sticker that Aaron got last year at Dick's, and it's really freaking adorable.
It's a sticker of someone's dog, like a photo.
Yeah,
And the dog has a gap between its front teeth.
and it's a cute white wiry hair dog. And Aaron's been messing with it for weeks. Like, I'm gonna put it on my computer. I'm gonna put it here. And then finally, a couple weeks ago, he put it on the road. What is it?
Podcasting board.
Yeah, the podcasting board. And he's like, well, what's his name? And after we had Andrew and Dan on, we were like, his name's Danger Muffin.
Yeah. So the dog sticker name is
And
Danger
he's cute.
Muffin.
And he's got a look of like, what's up? What are we doing?
Yeah,
Let's go.
he's ready.
Come on,
Kind of
guys.
like Danger Muffin's music.
Yeah.
We actually met Andrew 5 years ago in
Yeah.
the life of
No Simple Road.
Andrew is one of the first musicians that came on the show that actually let us use his music in the show. So if you go back to those early episodes and listen to the commercials and stuff, you'll hear one of Andrew's songs. It's called Ooga Boogaloo, and we use it all the time. And we've been a huge fan of Danger Muffin and Andrew's ever since, and we're stoked to have him back on the show. Apple, you have any tour dates or anything?
Well, I was just going to tell.
people?
I was just going to tell you, go check out Andrew Hendryx's solo stuff. Last time we interviewed him, he was getting ready to come out with the album Deep River, which has been out for a while now. And just so you know, it's Hendryx, Hendryx.
It's a great spelling.
Yeah. And then go, Danger Muffin has a new album out. They've got several albums. They've been doing music for a while, but the new one is self-titled Danger Muffin. Awesome listen. And then you can go to dangermuffinmusic.com to see what they're up to. They just have a few dates right now, but I imagine this will fill in. September 21st, the infamous weekend in Axton, Virginia. October 18th in Charleston, South Carolina. And then they have a few dates, January 18th and 19th at Purple Fiddle in Thomas, West Virginia.
All right. Dope.
And
Thanks for
I
that,
just
Apple.
wanted to say, too, a thank you to Dan for his thoughts and his take and advice on social media. It really just got me thinking differently about it ever since he's talked about it. And I just want to say thank you. One of the things that he said, and I wrote in my journal, was social media is a bridge to your community. And it's not like I didn't know that.
You just never heard it put quite like that.
Yeah, I didn't hear it put like that. And really, truly, it's true. We have so many people
friends,
that we know because of social media.
We wouldn't know Sean and Meg.
Exactly. So I just want to say thank you, Dan. That was really a keen insight that I needed to hear.
Yeah, I think you're all going to be able to pull a lot of nuggets out of
I
this
love it. So
conversation.
you'll hear it in this conversation. It's when Dan said, just a quick tangent. And then we talked for like 15, 20 minutes about it. And it was awesome.
Well,
I like
and
quick
one
tangents.
of the last things I'll say that I wrote down that was a nugget and a pearl of wisdom here was music is the best magic that we have.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nugget for sure.
You can't argue with that.
All right, everybody, we're going to get you to this conversation. We're going to do the abbreviated business. I want to remind all of you right now, it's Friday, and a lot of us are in Denver for the Fish Tour Closer Dick's Week. Be careful out there, everybody. Take care of yourselves, man.
And each other.
And each other.
Yeah,
Clean
watch
up your
out for one
trash.
another.
Yeah, clean your trash when you go to you know what, if you by yourself, forget about your friends. If you were responsible for the trash in your person and around you, that stadium would be so clean.
Yep, it'd be cleaner than we left it or found it when we leave it. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Also, on Monday, as you're making your slow crawl towards the airport or wherever you're going to go, we will have a special edition of the No Simple Road Weekly Rewind. It will be the recording of us live at Fire on the Mountain doing our live podcast, and I hope you all all listen to it and enjoy. There'll be some fish trivia and other stuff there. So special guests. We don't know what's going to happen now, but the us that's living when this comes out will know what had happened. I hope you all understood that.
Wow, dude, mind's blown.
Mhm.
I need to
See
take a
that?
nap after that.
It's coming, Apple. Trust me. So follow No Simple Road on the social medias at No Simple Road. Go to the website, get some merch, get a tarot reading. Call 971-808-1524. That's the No Simple Road tepid line. That's where you guys can call in, say whatever you want. We'll play it on the show. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast player you happen to be listening to the show on. But most importantly, tell somebody you love about No Simple Road.
Yeah.
That is what it's all about, is us spreading love, joy, community, and conversation.
Yeah, sharing
And
good stuff with friends.
growing the mycelial network that is No Simple Road. So without further ado, the No Simple Road crew gives you
Danger Muffin.
I wish you could have seen me with a rose in my teeth. Knowing I had all I need was love. And then we danced like we never danced before. Knowing we had all we need was love. I wish you would have seen it. All the times we could have walked. All the times that we had songs in us. Songs that we should be singing. Maybe you would have noticed. Until we're feeling. All the beat was running through us.
That's the worst of Zoom, right? You try to say everybody's always muted. It's like a whole thing.
What's up, man? How's it going, Dan?
Oh, it's great. How are you guys?
Awesome.
So good.
Awesome. I'm Aaron.
Aaron, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, brother.
My name is Mel, Dan.
Hey, Mel, what's up?
And then I'm
Chilling.
Apple.
Apple.
Yes.
How are you guys? You having a good night?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We were chilling.
actually.
We were watching Game of Thrones, hanging out with our son, tea
Making
and coffee
coffee.
time.
Yeah.
Chilling.
All right. Nice.
How about you?
Nice. Man, I got some family in town, so I was just hanging with my two twin 9-year-old nieces.
Oh,
And we were like doing the whole like mini golf and a little ice cream, so that whole thing. So it's pretty awesome, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, family time is so amazing when, especially like if you haven't had it in a while, like you haven't seen each other. It feels like, it's just a heart.
Yeah, and twins are magical.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, there's definitely that. It's super special. The wife and I don't have any kids. We just have 3 crazy dogs.
Those are kids.
kids.
So it's, I think 3 crazy dogs equals 1 kid.
Yes.
I don't think that's the math.
There's weird math there.
What
Totally.
kind of
Yeah,
dog?
there's some
Because people will want to
math
know.
is mathing. So
oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Andrew.
What's up, y'all? Good
What's
to
up,
see you.
man?
Look at that.
Hey, how's it going?
5 years, brother.
I don't know, man. Where'd it go?
Where does the time go?
It got eaten
A
up.
lot has happened in the world.
Oh my gosh.
faster and faster. Right?
Yeah. Wow.
Insane.
Dan, do you remember what you were doing 5 years ago?
Touring, I
You were
think.
touring. Okay.
Yeah, off and on, right?
Okay.
You were singing on my solo record. It's
Sang on Andrew's solo record. That was super fun.
how I met these guys.
Yeah, man.
Right on.
All right. So Dan, why don't you go first? Introduce yourself to the folks that are listening so they know who you are.
Yeah, so I'm Dan Lotti, the singer and rhythm guitar player and bass player
What?
for the band Danger Muffin.
Thank you for joining us today, Dan. Andrew, your turn, man.
I'm Andrew Hendryx. I play acoustic and electric, a bunch of different electric mandolins in Danger Muffin.
All right. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So tell us all about Danger Muffin. We want to know everything.
All right. So I can
Go.
definitely do that. I can just stop me because I'll keep going I won't ever stop. And so somebody's got to let me know.
Okay.
I've said enough. So we started on Folly Beach in South Carolina. It's a little beach town outside of Charleston. I went to school in Charleston and I started playing a lot of gigs there. I was gigging 5-6 nights a week. It's a very vibrant bar scene, lots of live music. And I spent a little bit of time in New York City, came running as fast as I could back to Charleston. And I met Mike Savilli, who's the lead guitar player.
Okay.
We started gigging together 5-6 nights a week and started writing some original songs. Eventually picked up a drummer. First original drummer. We put out an album called Bermuda that was super fun to do. The original drummer moved on in his own path. Steven joined the band, and that was about 2009.
Okay.
So since about that time, 2009, 2010, we've been touring, 130 shows a year nationally. We got connected with the great agency out of Nashville called New Frontier Touring, Paul Lohr, who was building the Avett Brothers at the time.
Okay.
So we got to get onto a lot of different events and festivals. We went back and forth to Seattle from Charleston, which I think is about as far as you can drive on the continental United States. Twice in one summer.
Gosh.
So we hit it hard, and we've done quite a few albums. I think we just released our 7th album on Friday, which we're super excited about.
Congratulations.
Thank you. The band, I'll say this one more thing. The band started in this little bar we used to play every Sunday night on Folly Beach. It was called Surf Bar. And it was kind of like this vibes, very like Bohemian, Costa Rican sort of vibes. And it was like surf videos on the TVs in the background and then bluegrass music.
What? And
that was the vibe where we started. So we used to play every Sunday night, and we'd always invite bands to come sit in, come hang out. So we sort of loved that, because we were creating this community, creating this scene, which Folly is a very special, vibey place. And that was the first time we met Andrew.
Okay.
I remember we had a friend of mine was like, you got to hear this band Yarn. They're fantastic. You're going to love it. And so they came in, played a set, and we got to know all those guys and had just a fantastic evening. I remember that night we closed the bar down, and when we realized we all knew who Dan Reeder was. Do you guys know who Dan Reeder is?
No.
He's like this older kind of funny folk singer. And we all knew his songs. And so we're literally singing his songs together at the top of our lungs in Surf Bar. And that's how the friendship was born.
Heady Wax Fiends is the place you go if you are a vinyl enthusiast, if you are a music lover, if you're somebody that loves community, one of those things or all of those things put together, Heady Wax Fiends is the place to go. Heady Wax Fiends is an inclusive vinyl record collecting community with an in-house, independent, monthly mail order subscription record club. They deliver exclusive vinyl to your door every month and offer subscribers first dibs on small run exclusive variant albums and add-ons. And you never pay for shipping when you bundle additional purchases into your monthly boxes. That's right. The August record of the month is the Jaunty's February 18 show from Sandpoint,
Jaunty.
Idaho. We are in the midst of presenting the Jaunty's Pacific Northwest
As we speak.
Check out the homepage at headywaxfiends.com for a list of past and future 2024 releases, and browse the in-stock titles on the past releases on the Fiends Vault exclusive pages. They're offering the No Simple Road family free records of your choosing when you subscribe today with a 3-month or 6-month payment plan. Use the promo code NSR on a 3-month payment plan for 1 free in-stock title or 2 free in-stock titles with the purchase of a 6-month payment plan. This is the place you go when you want to hang out with other people that love music as much as you do and get dope-ass vinyl delivered directly to your door. Hetty Wax Fiends.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, so there's a lot there, but I have to know, driving from one side of the country to the other twice in one summer, what did you drive in? Gotta know.
It was an old, not super old, but it was a Dodge whatever van. It was, I couldn't tell you the model at this point.
Okay.
We call her Vanny Watu. But it made it. So thank God. I think the transmission went out a couple years later in Ohio, which was kind of crazy. But for the most part, we've had pretty good luck, knock on wood, with our touring vans.
Okay. Because
that's a blessing.
I know that can be a thing. I've heard many.
I mean,
we're
all still alive, Dan. We've done okay.
Yeah.
And you all still talk to each other, so that's cool too. Because
you travel well together.
Yeah, Andrew, how have things changed since like doing your solo stuff and now doing this?
Well, I can't quite remember, but when we were talking last, I was like, I guess, in Danger Muffin, and we were doing sort of like an acoustic national tour with doing an acoustic thing, but because it was with Yonder Mountain String Band, they didn't want they didn't want the full experience of like the bass and the drums, and so we all love acoustic music. It's really dear to our hearts, but that's just one facet of this band. But we did the acoustic tour with them, but I think we were all kind of itching, as satisfying as that was, to like get back with some drums and plug in a little bit and get a little bit more experimental. And so we did that tour, and then I had children, and COVID happened, and I think we just made I can't speak for the band, but I think there was just like a kind of collective decision that we should shut the ship down during COVID, like not push the waters, not jeopardize people's health and safety, as financially hard as it was not to play, but we just kind of took a little break, or at least that I sort of, I felt like that's where my head was at that time. And then that said, when it was really exciting for us to get back together.
What was the catalyst for you guys to jump back in?
Well, I mean, I'd say I just miss playing. Like, we have such a fun time playing together, and I mean, didn't we all just miss music on such a profound level?
Dude, you were like teaching lessons online, right?
I was teaching. I was a college professor and doing a whole bunch of other things, which I still do, and it's really impactful and meaningful. But there's just nothing like jamming, and especially jamming with people who you have like a lot of musical trust and a lot of faith in, and long-term friendships. Like it's pretty magical, like both as a fan and as an artist. It's awesome. So we were obviously pretty chomping at the bit to get back to it,
Well, you said something in there too, that we were wondering, when we talked to you 5 years ago, it was like 2 weeks away from your daughter's due date. You were getting ready to become a father, and you just said a minute ago had children. So you've had several children now.
I do. We love it so much. We have a son. I have a son now, August, and yeah, it's even better now.
Yeah,
it's like almost like having 3 dogs.
That's the math, right? 3 dogs equal 1 kid.
That's right. Yeah,
that's what we determined.
I was listening back to the interview, because I love to do that when we have somebody on again, to listen back to it, and going back in a time machine 5 years. It was, and Mel said it. I told her today, I was like, you told him too. You're like, congratulations, because you're getting ready for your album to come out, which we were calling your baby. And then you're ready to have a baby, and she goes, "You're going to be addicted. You're going to want more babies of both kinds." So congratulations.
Nailed it.
It's hard to do just one, one kid is great. It's amazing. It's a blessing, but then you start to see like they want to play with somebody. They need a buddy, even like a dog too. Like a dog needs a buddy, I get it.
For sure. They need a pack.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the new album, Danger Muffin.
Yeah, for sure. I'll jump in on it, Andrew. I think Andrew was right. We were just itching to play and get back together. Honestly, I think we all definitely felt the isolation, right, from the lockdown. The COVID experience was such a thing that we all went through in like our own ways, maybe in our own little I don't know what we're trying to say, but just in our own worlds, right? So to reconnect, the music for me personally, and music has always like checked so many social boxes. It's kind of like a weird thing. Like I almost don't know who I am unless I'm like playing music socially, which is maybe another conversation, but it made so much sense to get back together and start reconnecting with some of the community that Danger Muffin has been building for, all these years. And so we made like a little Facebook post about it. Like we're back, and people were super excited, and we're like messaging with everyone. So this immediate momentum,
Right.
And we started writing. We had like a writing session in a little mountain town outside of Asheville, a little place called Rosman, which is closer to Brevard, which is a great music town. A lot of like the String Dusters guys are there, and like Jeff Sipe lives there. So it's like it's got its whole own vibe.
That's a thing.
Yeah. And then we went to this little cabin way up in the hills on like a little mountaintop and spent like a week there. And we all brought our ideas together and just recorded everything. I think we ended up with like 8 or 9 hours of recordings. And then we combed through them and found like the timestamps and the grooves that we loved, and just kind of built from there, which eventually led to last summer. We were we wanted to go to Echo Mountain here in Asheville, which is a premier recording studio in the Southeast. It has quite a history, quite a vibe. And so we've always wanted to do a record there because of all the amazing records we've heard from there. Like, again, citing the Avett Brothers, like Emotionalism was done there. There's some My Morning Jacket, Band of Horses, that kind of vibe. It all kind of came out of the studio. So we really wanted to be a part of that. So we recorded that, last summer, and we've just been working nonstop on the edits and just the whole process. We're basically like our own label. So we've just been doing everything on our own, and it's been a labor of love. Yeah. And now we're super happy to sit here with you after just finally releasing it after 2.5 years.
It's a crazy world, I'm telling you.
Sure it is.
You guys feel the craziness?
I'm feeling it.
No,
well,
man,
I know
what you're talking about.
I know something that can give you relief when you need it.
What?
That is our sponsor, Melt Mushrooms.
What?
Yeah,
what are they going to do for relief?
Well, you can go over to @meltmushrooms on Instagram. You hit them up, you send them a DM, and you tell them you would like to see their wonderful menu. Then you know what they do?
What?
They shoot you over a menu.
Whoa.
And then it's up to you to decide from 10 flavors of wonderful chocolates that's infused with their mushroom blend.
What if I don't want chocolate?
Well, then they have 3 flavors of gummies
Oh.
that
What
you
if I
can
don't
have
want
also.
gummies?
Well, then they got you covered there too, because they also have gel caps.
Whoa.
Dang.
And they are giving the No Simple Road family a deal. Buy one, get one half off. That's right. Right now, Melt is hooking everybody up for that end of summer swing. So go follow @Melt Mushrooms on Instagram, shoot them a DM, tell them we sent you, get that deal, and get your head right. Melt Mushrooms. You brought something up in there about the Facebook side of it, and announcing, hey, we're coming back, and there's momentum, right? And I think that from doing No Simple Road for 7 years now, one of the things that I always think about is if we took a break would we have people listening when we came back? That's like a concern of mine if we ever had to like take a extended period of time off. Were you worried about it? Were you worried like, oh shit, all the stuff that we had built up over time, is that going to be still there?
I really wasn't, because I think it was, even my initial thought was I just wanted to play, and whatever it was, like if it was just like simple bar gigs, like that would be fine too. Just getting the music out and just having it kind of flow through the veins again was kind of the goal. And we were a little surprised that people were like super stoked, This kind of also came in tandem with some decent that like, I feel like maybe to answer your question too, like if you guys took a break, would people still be around? I think yes, because I think the true music fans, particularly in the true authentic artistry, whatever you want to call it, authentic music, like they're fans for life.
Yeah,
That's very true.
And they'll be there. You know what I mean? And I think it's a beautiful thing that we've been experiencing with that. So,
well, it goes back to what you were saying about like not knowing really what to do with yourself or who you are apart from it. It's the same for us on the fan side of it, man. And COVID, I've talked about this before, like COVID really shined a light on that for me personally. I don't know about your guys' experience, but like when the live music thing was gone, I would like go to my closet and I have like all these concert t-shirts and like, who is this now? Everything that I am about is ended. And now my identity is so wrapped up in the thing, and there's, you know what I mean? I don't even know what to do. It was really hard, man. So I completely understand what you're talking about.
I wonder, you were saying about like that time and, kind of like trying to figure out who you were. How is it like from a fan's perspective? Because you're also a fan of music, and a musician's perspective during that time. Like what are those two different feelings? Like how did you, like, what were you emoting at that time? Because you were missing it from a listening perspective, but also from a playing perspective.
I mean, maybe Andrew, you want to chime in too, but I'll just say for me, the whole thing felt like a void, right? Yeah. I mean, it was like an absence of, well, I think music and community are like hand in hand, and they feed one another, right? So it creates all this inspiration to want to hear this band, or like we just played here in Asheville last weekend at that AVL Music Fest, and it was like, getting to see all these amazing bands, saw like Blitz and Trapper and like Langhorne Slim and stuff, and it's just so inspirational. So I think it feeds that, and I think that it was just an absence of all those things, for quite a while, and so it was like a dormant creative emotion that wasn't being expressed or listening to other music or creating. So that was like an interesting time. Andrew, what about you, man? What was it like for you?
Well, I was living in Philly, and I with my family, and I was up to my neck in diapers, but my experience was filtered in a different way than I would imagine. It would have been like 2 or 3 years before. So, kind of like hunkering down with just my kids was, despite just the horrible things unfolding around me, like I just tried to really focus personally on like how like lucky I was to have this like my own little community. That said, I would walk my daughter all around Philly, and it was like people passing with their baby carriages were like smiling at each other and just like reaching out
energetically
that connection. Like I've never smiled at so many strangers, you know what I mean? And just sort of like like, we're all just hang in there. We got this, you know, like, look at this beautiful day we have in, you know, by the tall ships in Philly. And like, and that, you know, those moments became so apparent that like we're missing so much that we're kind of grasping for it. But it was really hard. I mean, it was hard on so many levels. And I think, you know, living through it, I still think there's probably a lot of healing that needs to go on.
Yeah.
Post that experience, instead of just turning the page and like moving on from it quickly, because live music is back. I still think there's a lot of like inner work that needs to be done from that experience, you know, because it was
gnarly.
It was traumatic.
Yeah.
We were talking to somebody that was a doctor, so they would say it was like everybody went through a trauma, and you
Totally.
can't just tuck that away and be like, oh, I'm fine now, everything's back to normal. Well,
it's all back. Let's go get our concert tickets. Like, that was
And
heavy.
with one eye twitching.
I think a lot of people
nothing is back
wanted
to
that to
normal.
happen, and we kind of did out like initially out the gate. We're like, oh, we can like go to concerts again. Let's do it. But then after a while, you know, the dust settles, and you're like, oh, why am I shaking still? What is happening?
Right, yeah.
And then people, I think a lot of people didn't really want to talk about it once it was over. It was like, get that out of here.
Brush
you
it under
know,
the rug.
We were exhausted
it was
from it.
because that was all we were ever hearing and talking about and feeling about. And then now we're out of it. And now we got to talk about it again. Like enough's,
totally.
like enough's friggin' enough. But if you don't talk about things, they bubble up, they come out, they come through us somehow or another.
Wow.
And so, you know, I only ask because this podcast to me is a lot more than just hearing about music. It's about hearing about lives and people who change lives for a living. And if your life is changed indirectly by something you didn't do, then your output is also changed, you know? And so I just, you know, I'm just a curious person about emotions and people's like state of mind, because that really, when we're all cheering and, you know, loving the music, it came from that place.
Well,
it came from somewhere.
Our first experience back from all that was the String Dusters and Green Sky.
Yeah.
Here. And it was weird.
It was
man.
very strange.
It was really weird to be with people again. And
it's like almost like looking behind your shoulder.
We'd almost kind of forgotten how to dance. And they still everything was pods. Like there was 5 people or 6 people allowed to a pod, and it was like roped off. It was music, and everybody was kind of, once we started talking, everybody was awkward. After all that, you didn't know quite how to act with each other and the music, but then that quickly started fading as they were playing.
And I think too, Andrew, you hit on something kind of important, like those walks that you took where you're, you know, appreciating the day. You know, look at this day that we have, and smiling at people walking by. I think that if we're going to carry anything out of that mess, that should be the stuff that we're carrying forward with us into now, right? Like those lessons have to stick. That's not a temporary feeling. That's available now, right? And so those are the things that we should be like moving forward with. But Mel's right, and it happened, and it's hard to like, even for me, it's hard to even like think through it at this point. It was so much for all of us, and like you, we were really fortunate. We all lived together, so we have our own little community here too. So, you know, when things got really strange, we hung out with each other, and it kind of seemed normal here at home. But I know that since all of that, the landscape of the music industry has really, really changed. It's really a lot harder for you guys. You know, gas is more expensive. It's harder to be touring and on the road. All these festivals are collapsing. Have you guys felt the pinch of the post-COVID thing going on?
I think that, you know, I mean, It's definitely changing. I think it was changing even before COVID
Really?
happened. You know what I mean? I think you saw this, like, a lot of these older sort of venues like closing down in favor of like the breweries and the micro festivals. And so we're in this constant state of flux with it. And yes, obviously COVID sent the ripples through the industry, and I think it continues to be the case. I think that our approach to returning to playing has been to not tour quite as much.
Smarter.
So it's actually been not as like as much of a shock for us because of maybe our approach, which is really just a few shows a month is kind of where we're at, or like Andrew had mentioned, he's got the family at home. Mikey, the guitar player, has a 5-year-old daughter as well. And we're all kind of balancing different things. So that's kind of been our approach, and it's been nice because we can really gear up for like special events, and really there's no like we're able to kind of be closer to our families, which is super nice. My 3 dogs, etc.
That's cool.
So that's kind of been our approach. So for us, it hasn't been as much of a shock. Again, we're riding this wave of kind of wanting to step away. Or just stepping away when we had to, and then kind of coming back, and the vibe has been welcoming, and it's been a nice pace for us so far.
That's great
that's
to hear.
cool.
Yeah.
You're one of the first folks we've spoken to that have said that.
Yeah.
Like,
Really?
Well, because I think a lot of people try to, if you're, first of all, missing out on, income for a long time and your passion, I don't know which one's worse, right? If you need money or if your passion goes
equal.
Yeah, if your passion goes unfulfilled, so then you have a tendency to like, come on, let's go full throttle, let's do this. So yeah, people are going to notice because like what Aaron was saying, hotel rooms, gas or whatever. But we have talked to quite a few people that have said that touring has gotten a little bit more of a, like, in a smarter sense. Like, we're not just doing everything that we were offered. We're not just taking every gig. And maybe if we would have taken a gig, maybe far away from us, we're going to do a few more that we wouldn't have done so that it can work out for us. And so it just made it seem like you just had to kind of tighten things up a little bit, not just with the music, but with the business of music.
Mm-hmm.
Touring smarter.
Yeah.
Like they say, not harder, smarter.
Yeah. Nobody thinks when they're 16, and they see the guy playing guitar and they want to be a rock star and they start taking lessons or whatever. You're not thinking that like, okay, when I start a band, I got to run a business too. It's just not.
No, of course.
No,
Yeah.
man. How is it for you guys navigating that side of things?
Well, like we're definitely building. I feel like with the momentum and kind of the energy that is happening with us, like when we get together on stage, even though it's not, happening like it used to, where it's going to be, 20 shows a month or whatever. I feel like because of that, we're attracting like a really good team of people that are wanting to help us. Like we have an amazing tour manager named Paul, who's just fantastic, and I feel like the team is just going to grow bigger and bigger, and everyone sort of seems to be on the same page with that. So I'm kind of excited about this year, about like what's going to happen or in the next year in terms of making our team just slightly bigger, hopefully increasing. I would love more West Coast shows, and I think after our little run in Colorado, I think it certainly personally, it got me pretty excited about all these beautiful cities and towns that I miss. Maybe we don't have to hit all of them in a row, but I definitely want to get back out there and bring this music to all these beautiful places, that I've been so lucky with a career as a touring musician to get to know like really well, and all the people that I miss. So, hopefully we'll be making that happen, with some vigor and like with our sort of new crew, which is exciting.
What was the thing that made you feel like that when you did the Colorado shows? I'm curious.
It was seeing some old friends, that used to like pick me up early from the hotel rooms and take me hiking, like before the shows, and just, hearing these old stories just brought me back to like how special and how lucky I am to be able to, to do this as a vocation, and that to me, and then of course just seeing these, beautiful landscapes, and I could still skip some airport hangs that I do a lot of. Personally, I didn't miss that. There's a whole lot of it that's also, you guys hear all about it. However, there's just nothing like being in some of these beautiful spaces and trying to create something beautiful that's inspired by these spaces around you. Like that's how I was feeling when we played these shows in Colorado. How could you not be inspired to play your best when you see like lovely people and these beautiful landscape? I don't know. It just doesn't get better.
No,
really.
you know what? It makes me think of like they say set and setting for psychedelics. It's the same thing for playing music too, right?
Oh, for sure.
I think if I could just jump in, because
Please.
I think for me, it's definitely that. Like, it's what a blessing it has been to have been able to travel and like play a show at like the base of Mount Shasta.
Oh,
you know,
shit. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just some places that you go and I think maybe for me personally, like I it's always like this, you go through this like roller coaster of emotions leading up to your show, and you're singing, you're thinking about all these things. And I think you really like tune in with the total energy of a place, like the geographic, like the mountains and the phase of the moon and all, like you feel like, I feel a lot of that, And so it had been quite a few years since we've been to Colorado, and this recent run, like one of these shows in particular, like we're out in this, like in Western Colorado, in this apple orchard, and like everybody, the vibe is just, it's just an immaculate vibe. Right. And we finished the set and somebody's like, "Oh, did you see the full moon behind the stage?" And it's like, no, I didn't see it, but like I felt it,
Yeah.
So I think that's the best, one of the best things about being able to travel and play music and connect with the communities and connect in these like spaces that are honestly sacred,
They are.
Yeah.
It's funny that I never really thought about it like that. I mean, sure, like playing Red Rocks, I could see that would be,
right.
You know what I mean? But like what you're talking about, it even translates to the indoor spaces that you go to as well. Like if that crowd is ready to go and it's full and it's
beautiful and the sound is amazing.
Yeah,
and
sure.
like
I never really thought about it like that. And
sometimes sorry to interrupt. Sometimes like the crew, we have a place that I think is going to be in Asheville called Salvage Station, and I've only had the privilege of playing there like a few times. But when people call me last minute to like sit in and jump in on a show there, like I'll do it simply because like the crew and the team that like does all the grunt work to make that place such an amazing venue, make it so fun and easy to just kind of like,
that's cool,
just run in, jump in, play a few tunes that you're like, I'd go just because their energy is it's as cool as that place is a beautiful space. It's an inspiring venue physically, but I actually just love the people. Like everybody there is working their ass off and seems really happy and just seems really to love it. And it's like, there's places like that, like in Detroit that I remember where you're just like, man, like what a great, these people are working so hard because they love music and they don't even get to be the ones on stage, and they do this work so that we can come in, exhausted and play. And sometimes those moments can be just as special as the, Colorado mountain things.
Right.
Totally, man. And it makes such a huge difference. If you, like you said, Andrew, like coming in like 8 hours in the van and you just want to like connect, you want to walk in as a band and you want to like hey, I'm in this place. Maybe I've been before, maybe it's been a while, maybe I've never been here, but I want to like connect with
Yeah.
the first person that we talk to, or the people at the venue. Like, what's the vibe? How does it feel? And the people that, are really like present with you and just giving you that like welcome feeling, that love, like it makes the band feel so great. And then it makes the show, that much better, full of love. Everybody's comfortable vibing, so it's a really big deal.
That's like here in Portland, the few of the smaller venues are our favorite place to see because of those reasons. The staff, the everything, the sound, the community that goes out to it and stuff, like the get down.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you said it, Dan, earlier about the music and community. They're kind of like synonymous with each other.
Oh yeah.
How could like these people are paying money. They're planning weeks in advance to come see this. Even the workers, they're excited that they get to see these incredible musicians, and it just like creates an energy before even the music is played.
Think about when we went to Ophelia.
Oh, I was thinking about that while Andrew was talking about it.
And we did a live thing from there with Frasco last year around this time, and from the minute we got to the venue, everybody there was like, what can we do to help? What do you guys need? Do you guys want some food? Totally stoked.
They didn't know who we were. And we're excited
totally
to you're going to love it.
Like, we talked to a couple people that were like, I fucking love working here so much. It's the best job in the world. And I was freaking out, and it made everything so much smoother and nicer. And
think about the energy level. If somebody's coming to you guys with that high energy, like greeting you and like, come on in, that's adding to your playing somehow, even if you are exhausted for 8 hours, Yeah.
Huge. It's huge. Yeah, because it's music, it's community, it's, we're all participating energetically in the experience. And I think it can be the place, that we are, or the people. I think it's all one and the same. Like we're sharing, we're creating, we're cultivating this energy, this energetic experience, right? And it's so it's all a big synergistic, like, hang or whatever.
Yeah, and it feels good.
Do you feel like that is? Do you try and translate that experience to putting out an entire album? Or are you showcasing the songs, or are you trying to get something across energetically with the body of work?
Well, I think that, if you don't mind me continuing, Andrew, I think that container of the synergy is within the band, so I would point to like the cabin session that we had to write the songs and the feelings and energies around that. I mean, it's a high energy place, like kind of top of this mountain, amazing view, and it was just us sharing the energies and experiences and bringing these different offerings to the table. And so I think that's kind of where it can start with music. And then maybe the goal is to make it like as interpretable, or like as it can be. And I think that is more of a byproduct of just being authentically in your expression, if that's not too deep, but that's definitely the way that I feel about it, So I think inevitably people will connect that are on that common vibe, and then that'll translate, into the shows.
I don't think that was too deep at all. The whole being authentically in your expression. I mean, as a musician, that's kind of the goal, right? To be in that place as often as possible. And it's not easy.
No, it's not. And I would go further and say it's the goal of life. I think, even though, I don't know, give me just one quick tangent. I had this thought been thinking a lot about social media lately, because it's been like,
bring it on, Dan.
And I'm just like, God, like, what is this? Like, this is like, why do I have to do this? And then I'm like accepting it. And now I'm kind of like starting to enjoy it a little bit, which is super weird to say. But it made me think about like, everybody's trying to express themselves. And I think that like social media is giving us and then younger generations an opportunity to express, whether it's music or whatever their art is. Like a photo is artistic, right? So the colors and the thoughts and all the things. So we're all trying to express all the time. So I think that's the goal of every minute, is to be in authentic expression.
Wow. Yeah.
What was the switch that helped you to start to enjoy something that can be so unenjoyable?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Tell us.
Yeah,
please.
With social media.
Yeah, with social media, because man,
Right.
You're right, Andrew.
Oh my God. I'll say this might be, I'll let Andrew say it as well, because I know he's been active doing the same, but what makes it enjoyable, like realizing that it's a bridge to your community.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you can talk to somebody in friggin', like we had a comment from somebody in Japan today. They're like, I had to hit the translate button and it was like, I'm loving the album. Hope to see you one day. It's like that's amazing. Like, I want to come to Japan.
Wow.
Eat some sushi. Hang out with you.
Yeah, and then that's not going to happen any other way except for with social media nowadays. That's how Aaron runs our social media. It's so many connections have been made through it.
Yeah, it's so
many. It's an amazing tool.
What about you, Andrew? Have you found a groove with it?
No, the power's out on that for me.
Yeah.
I've tried. But what I do like about it, like it's just like talking about what Dan said about like your own personal truths or like expression. Like, I am just not going to probably ever be good at that kind of thing, you know, and it's just not in me to do it. Like, but what I can do with it is I love seeing other people's like happiness in terms of being like a more passive social media connoisseur. Like, I love seeing my friends' bands, like seeing their successes. Like, oh, they played Red Rocks. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, a little jealous, but also just like so happy that they had those moments. And so that's where I find my like personal redemption in it.
I get it.
But in terms of using, you know, and also like I do, of course, like I'm human. I appreciate like some of the conversations and using it as a device to stay connected. But like, I you know, it's just not my favorite thing. You know,
I'm with you.
I'm just not. It's just probably never will be, and I might just be okay with it.
Yeah.
I'll never have a lot of followers or whatever. It's just, I'm good.
We have a buddy. His name is Cam, and he does like, he's a comedian and he does like bits on Instagram, and he's gained really pretty big following in the jam band world, you know, doing like jaded fish vet videos and stuff like that. And he's hilarious. And him and I had a conversation. He came and stayed with us not too long ago, and we were talking about this very thing that we're talking about right now. And he does a podcast too. And he does like these commercials for every episode. And I was like, dude, I can't do it. Like, I can't get on Instagram and be like, hey, listen to this.
But you have. Totally have.
But I can't.
Even before anything that Cam had to say. I think you guys, Aaron is not lying, but it's so much easier for him because he treats it like a job. His emotion is taken out of it. And so because the show needs it, he does it.
But in this conversation,
I just had to throw that out there because he's saying all this, but he's like so steady doing it, and and it looks like authentic, and it is.
He's good at it.
I fucking hate it, and I feel so cringy and gross, and I was like, I can't keep doing it. And he was like, listen, man, the people that listen to your show, and I'm saying this to you guys too, like the people that listen to your music, do it because they like you and what you do. You don't have to do anything. Get on there and just be like, hey, what's up? This week, you know, just be you. You don't have to put on a thing. Just do you.
But that's easy to say because I like you put me and I look like a deer in headlights. That's what I feel like.
Because we're wrapped up in this thing of like, we have to perform because the light is on.
Need a costume.
Well, no, this is my thing. My thing is like, who cares? That's like, and the overarching thing. Like,
You better hope somebody cares.
No, I understand all the whys. I do. I truly do. But I'm like, nobody freaking cares that I went to, buy new roller skates or I had a good coffee. No one cares. Okay, I might get some likes out of it, but like
they care for 8 seconds.
And that's what it is. For me, I feel
that's true.
I feel like taken from instead of given to, and that's that my own head trip.
I've just started treating it like I'm talking to you.
Well, that's a different story.
This is the thing that's happening that you all need to know about, and ta-da.
I'm proud of you, Dan. That's my whole point of this whole thing. I'm really proud of you.
It's totally it's out of necessity. Necessity is the mother of invention, right? So
man.
But what a weird thing. What
a great tangent. You're like, give me a moment for this tangent. Sometimes when you speak it, I mean, that has led to this whole conversation right here.
Yeah, well done.
Well, because you know what? Because we talk about it, not the specific thing, but with other bands, because it's literally expected now. You cannot be a band with
venues expected. Yeah. Bands have told. They're like, when you...
That's why I want to reframe it, because I think that we all know the dark sides of it, like the feeding the narcissism and like what's happening. Like, is it maybe like destroying society? Like that, maybe. I think it's possibility.
Changing it for sure.
Like, shit is changing. Like the minds of the youth are. I mean, obviously, very different than when we were growing up.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I'm trying to like think about it in terms and just reposition it, see it through a different lens of just being something that, I think everybody's at the end of the day, like we're creating every second, everything we say, every conversation or everything we do, we're creating. Yeah. So to give people an extension to do that, I think is positive, and I think it's chaotic and it's some bullshit for sure, but it's good. It can be good for art. I mean, it has been good for a lot of art. And maybe this is super controversial, but a lot of people slam Spotify, and I get it. They're not paying what they should, but they're also opening up a global market for independent artists. And it's not just Spotify, but streaming the way things are going. So yes, there's less money to be made per stream, but like I said, somebody in Japan can discover you when you haven't toured Japan. And I think I'm just trying to find, we have to do it, right? So I'm bright-siding it, all of it.
It's totally bright-side, and you're not wrong with anything you're saying. It does need to be reframed, and maybe if people think about it differently, they'll behave differently using it, and it will feel different consuming it,
And it's a connection, because we talked about like that. The Japan thing was a couple of weeks ago. You're like, well, we're doing really good in Germany or Poland or something again, because we started this like you did locally. You started to build a community locally, and then that gets bigger, and then you're like thinking, oh, now we're in some states, and now we're popular in the United States. But when you find out the people on the other side of the globe are listening to you, I think that's a good thing for like global consciousness. It's like our community goes around the entire globe. That is our community. It builds that. That's one of the other good things I think of it, even though I really have a hard time with social media. I'm like you, Andrew. I'm on there to see what Aaron does for No Simple Road and everything, and to see all the bands that we meet, the ones I'm fans of, to see because that's how you see what's going on with everybody nowadays. That in that sense, the tool, it's a great tool.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah. It's exactly that. It's a tool.
Yeah. And like any tool, it depends on how you use the hammer. You can build something or you could smack somebody in the head with it.
Andrew.
And it's not fair to hate a tool.
Andrew,
it's just a tool.
No. Yeah.
It's
there
just
you
a
go.
tool.
Yeah.
It's just a tool.
Yeah.
Dan said something a second ago. I'm curious what you think. Like, shit is changing, right? Like the world around us is changing. Everything is changing. I'm curious how you, as a dad, are navigating the current of the world right now, and like how you approach that with being a father and your kids. Like, because our son is going to turn 22 this week. Our daughter is 29. So I can't shield them from everything anymore. Like the world is on 11 for them. And I'm just got to see what happens and try and be here when they get hurt. But your kids are small. So how are you navigating that with the world changing the way it is?
Humbly, like it's so complex, like thinking about all, I definitely, my wife and I'm really lucky to have such a great teammate in this journey, because we definitely, we're sleep deprived, but we definitely are trying our best to negotiate these waters in a way that thoughtfully for our kids. But we're like this interesting conversation we've had about social media. I'm now thinking about it in terms of, my career, my own mental well-being of, of scrolling, spending time on my phone, but then also what are we going to show our kids, and my wife is so cool. She's off it. She doesn't even do this stuff because she's like, it's not part, she's like, it's just not how I'm spending my time in my life. And so that's a really, not that we are some purists in any way, with technology, but it's really cool because I love that about her because I'm like, my kids aren't seeing their mom glued to a device.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And what's cool about that is that I think that might help them a little bit in their journey where obviously, for a few reasons, I'm definitely on some of that stuff a little bit more, particularly when we're working.
Yeah, it's part of work.
But I'm really lucky that the kids aren't seeing that as just a normative behavior, right? Just wake up and be on your phone constantly, and that's really cool. And I'm not saying that that's the right or wrong thing to do. It just happens to be what our reality is right now. And I just appreciate it. But that said, we just took I've been driving with my kids forever. And on one of our trips, we borrowed a car, a family car that had flat screens on the back of the seats. And oh my God, is that an 8-hour drive blissful, right?
Silence.
Especially for
maybe you need that for the band, right?
Yeah, no, I know exactly. I was like, I need this on every vehicle we rent from now on. And then if you deprive your kids of it just a little bit, little parent hack for all you new parents, and then you give them TV for an airplane or a car ride, they are it's a very seminal experience for them. So they didn't even speak. It was pretty made the car ride go pretty quickly.
That's a great balance. That's a great balance. Like what you were saying with you and your wife. That's a great balance for a kid to have. Dad's using it for work. Mom's not using it at all. And then it's a treat when you go in the car like that.
Yeah. It's hard, man.
Yeah, who knows the answer?
There's
no answer. There really isn't. It's just what you're doing is right. I think especially when we're older, we forget that our parents didn't know how to be a parent. I was just
gonna say that.
They didn't know. They made it up. And now you're a parent and you're making it up. They don't know that either. They have no idea. So whatever you're doing is right. Whether later on in your life you can look back oh, we could have done that better. It's right now.
I really thought when I was a kid, for real, thought that adults knew what was going on.
Yeah,
and we all what they were kids? Doing and had a plan and everything was cool. And no, man, it's not when you become an adult and you have kids of your own, you realize that your parents didn't know what the fuck was going on and they were winging it too. The thing that made it come into really sharp focus for me was actually when we moved here and a tree fell across the road at 5 o'clock in the morning and Mel had to take an Uber to work because she couldn't drive her car down. And then I was here at 5 o'clock in the morning and I was like, when's the adult going to come and get the tree out of the road? And I realized that was me. I'm the adult that's standing out there at 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what the hell to do. So nobody knows what the hell's going on.
But you figured it out, and that's what we do. We figure it out, right?
That's adulting.
No,
That's
yeah,
adulting.
nobody wants to do that shit,
exactly.
man.
Well, that's the greatest too. We talked about that. Your dad did the same thing. I think I'm 55 now. I think I was around 40 or so when my dad had like told me, he was like, son, if you haven't figured it out by now, I don't know shit. I'm trying to figure it out just like you do. I can give you guidance from what I've learned and stuff, but
wrong.
every day is figuring it out, and more so in the world we live in now with all the things coming at us in every direction.
I think in the world of all the things, one of the coolest parts of it is when you strip all that away and you get back to doing stuff like what these guys are doing.
Yeah.
They got together as a band and created something from nothing.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you
pretty
guys
dope,
put
guys.
together an
That's
entire
pretty
album
incredible.
from thoughts in your head. That is the gnarliest, coolest
Yeah.
thing that you can do.
and it's
as far as I'm
healing, and
concerned.
you're going out and you're healers. You're healing people. You're bringing community together. There's nothing like dance and music.
Yeah.
And
What putting together the new album, what was the most fun part of it for you guys, for each of you?
Recording it in Echo Mountain, I would say, was the
yeah.
most fun. Just being in the moment, like still writing the song. Usually when we go into the studio, we like beat the shit out of the songs and play them like 300 times. And we're like, okay, we're on the clock. Time is money. Like, you already know the song, just, play it. But this time around, it was like, we're not really ready to do this. So it's just like we were saying, like, who's going to come here and move this tree, right? So we put up like the whiteboard in the studio. We're writing the songs in the moment. And I think again, we're talking about the collective consciousness. This synergistic moment of creation happened on the record. And I feel like it's this like current that runs through each of the songs, because it was like that moment, that all those vibes in that building, in that place, right?
Yes.
That, and then to turn the microphones on and get a real-time capture of that. That was the most fun for me.
Oh wow! What about you, Andrew?
I would say, having done so many like typical studio sessions where the songs have been rehearsed over and over and the clock's on, you're kind of just watching, $100 bills just float away as you sit there adjusting microphones. Like, it was really liberating to go in and just have a lot of trust. Like, I know I've jammed with these guys, maybe not as like an official band member, but I've clocked in a lot of like hours, hanging out and playing different shows and tons of sit-ins. And I just knew, like, when I get with these guys, like even when I was in other bands, like I knew I could just play what I'm hearing and I would get full support. And it would just kind of, it always created something that I thought was pretty magical, so I was like, hence I would go out of my way to keep sitting in and playing with these guys. And so then once we started writing these songs, I would hear there's a lot of interplay on this record between me and the guitarist, where I can't even tell when I listen sometimes who's playing what, and that's exactly what I feel when I'm playing when we play on stage and we start sort of this weird conversation, where the guitar and the electric mandolin or the acoustic mandolin are sort of interweaving, and I just always sort of know. I mean, it doesn't always work out maybe the way I expected, but I always just sort of know we're going to it's going to coalesce, maybe is the word, or something. And it's like there's just always like some beauty in it, and so having those experiences live made it so much easier to just sit in Echo Mountain and just take chances. Like, I would hear something that Mikey or Dan would play, like, or the drummer is just amazing and plays a lot of like world music beats, and I could just pivot right away and not be like, I just ruined the take, because that's what would happen. Like, when I was doing like sessions in New York City, like if I took a big chance and I was like, well, I hear the drummer playing calypso, and then I start playing something to support that, you just hear the engineer in my mind going,
Cut it.
You know, too much. Like you don't need to do that. And so it was awesome doing it. It was probably at times a little scary too, which made it even more interesting because you just sort of like listen deeper, you know, like I was just listening with such intensity. It was like, it's kind of exhausting because you're just like so aware, hyper aware of what was going on. I definitely, when the session was over, we had a little time left. And so, everyone's probably really tired and they're like, oh, just go in, Andrew, and why don't you just take a few like extra solo passes? And I just remember being able to be like, I can really go through the gambit of emotion here. You know, like I can throw anything to the wall in this time and it's going to be encouraged. And like, no one's going to be like, oh, you just wasted 3 hours, you know, on these solos. And it was a pretty, that to me is the experience that I'll never forget. It was just kind of looking up into the booth and feeling the support as I went pretty wild on this record and some of the solos and stuff in terms of like, you know, my electric mandolin playing, and it was really cool to have like the full team sort of behind it. Yeah, it was awesome. I'm really so excited to take this music up on the road and share this stuff.
That the track "Luminous Teacher."
That's what it was.
I mean, can you guys talk about that one? Because that's kind of a different vibe from the rest of the album, and it's so, first of all, beautiful. And like it's very comforting and beautiful, but it has a whole different, you know, vibe. So can you talk about that and how that one is, you know, came about, or how it's different, or what was inspired?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm the singer, as I mentioned, and I'm also, you know, because I'm the one singing it, they're like, you write the lyrics too, because you gotta sing them.
You gotta sing them, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, for as a quick aside, like for the songwriting process, like I'm hearing a lot of like melodies in my head, and that's kind of where it starts. You know, like I hear the melody, and then like as I'm going to sleep, and I'll like, you know, do the whole thing, right? Pick up the iPhone and like hum it into the phone, and hopefully you can tell what it is in the morning. So that's how a lot of the songs are written. And specifically with Luminous Teacher, you know, I don't mind sharing with your audience that I went to Peru in spring of 2018 with my wife, who does retreats in Peru. She's an herbalist here in Asheville, but we've been to Peru together 3 times. And on the 3rd time that we went, you know, this is again 2018, we did the ayahuasca journey, which was very profound experience. And I feel like it changed me to this day. And that song more or less came out of that experience. So that's pretty much what that song is about. Like that day, what it was like for me, and some of that vibe for sure.
We had a gentleman on the show,
Dr. Jeff McNary.
Jeff McNary. He's part of this thing called Rhythmia in Costa Rica. And it's like
it's a wellness
5-star wellness ayahuasca retreat. And I've never, like, I've always said, like, I'm not going to go to the jungle and do that. Like, I can't, I just know I'm not doing it. And we had this guy on the show, and I had all these like preconceived notions of like, you know, prejudgment of what a 5-star ayahuasca retreat is. And we're like, we have all these like questions for the guy that we're going to like drill him when he gets on with
like it. Straight. We were kind of like
skeptical.
Very skeptical.
Sure.
We were like, very no, good. You know, like we had all these like, it's probably so expensive. What are they giving back to the community? All these kinds of like things that in our head we were thinking about. And
he came on and we never even got the chance to ask him the questions. He answered all of it before we could even do it. He was just telling us all the stuff. And at the end he was like, and I want to invite you guys down just get down here and we'll take
just
care,
gotta
of,
fly
we'll
down
take care of
there.
everything for you guys. And I was like, yeah, okay. You know, he said it on the show, whatever. And then like 2 days later, he emailed and was like, no, I really meant it. And I want you guys to come down. So I never felt called to do that medicine, but I do now.
You do now.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Well, this is new to us.
That's because I was just going to say, and on those notes,
I've been on the fence.
Me and Mel have been wanting to book a date since he said it. It's been a month and a half or so. And Aaron's like, oh, well, we'll see. And everything. I was going to say, Dan, convince him more.
Well, this is the thing about with that whole thing is like, you know, we asked him like, is there any crazy things that you or things that have surprised you about working with ayahuasca? And he's like, yes, how the medicine starts to work on people once they decide that they're coming. Before they're even there, before they board the plane, before they even get their ticket, but they decided they're doing it, and the medicine starts working on them. And you know, for us, we're no strangers to psychedelics or anything like that, but you know, there's respect that that's doing, you know, a psychedelic versus doing a plant medicine in a ritual or a ceremonial space is a completely
That's a different
animal. Yeah. And so having that experience with him where he was speaking to us without knowing our speculation or our skepticism.
Yeah,
thank you.
It was the medicine talking.
It was absolutely the medicine. And I believe that it was a medicine that had him invite us as well. I really feel like that. Once he said that, I felt it in my heart, you know.
And I haven't heard anybody say like it was a horror. We've heard a lot of people, friends and band members. I've never heard anybody say that it was not a good experience.
And
I think,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Go.
Mention that I think that, you know, I would say to your listeners that, you know, it's not for everyone. And that I do think it's important to go the path that you're saying, well, I don't feel called. Like, you got to listen to that. But when you do feel called and you make that decision, yeah, that's super interesting about it. The second you decide to do it, it's it's like a nonlinear phenomena, I would say. You have to like approach it like with reverence, right? And you have to, like, the wife and I did what they call the dieta, right? So you're eliminating all these, you know, no coffee, no alcohol, no weed, no sex, no spicy foods, which was a crazy one. So you have to get rid of all that and kind of like fast the day of. And I think if you approach it like that, I mean, I'll just say this and then I'll, you know, be done with it. But you're having an encounter with an entity that is present. And it's similar in some ways to the psychedelics that we know here, like in our culture. But like you said, Mel, the intention and the ceremony and ritual rites, it's a very different experience. It's much more intense. And I will say my experience was very cleansing and very therapeutic. I felt like, and it was like some inner child stuff.
Oh, wow.
You know? So I kind of came out of it feeling great for me personally.
But I know this is the last part of it. I just wonder, you said that you're changed forever. How did it affect your music?
Yeah.
Well, that song came out of it. So
there it is.
It's amazing. We all, once Apple was saying that you got to listen to this one, got to listen to this track. So I was like going down the line. He's like, no, I want you to listen to this one. I put it on and it felt like somewhere. That's what I can say about the music. It felt like somewhere.
Love that.
The entire album.
Yeah, man.
The entire album is amazing, but that's like a departure from it. That one threw me off. I was listening to it in the car. And I'm driving, like the other stuff's more driving like music. And then that one hit and I'm like, whoa.
Well, but and LBL is awesome. Is it LBL, right? Is it, or LB1?
Yeah, LBL.
Yeah, that one is, I wouldn't say similar vibe, but it kind of kept that tone going. I just feel like what an amazing way to end the album is really like, what a great job. I love it. You guys are really doing a service to yourselves and to the listeners. And I just want to thank you for that.
I
know,
have one follow before we
Guys.
get ready to wrap up. This is a follow on those heels. This is a good segue to it. A follow-up question of Mel's from 5 years ago for Andrew.
Oh shit.
She said when we found out you were expecting a child in a couple weeks, she goes, I'm very curious to know how it's going to change or affect your playing and your music once you have a child, because it affects everything in your life. I'm just wondering, how has that played with having children now? Has it affected your music?
Oh yeah, I could talk about this all night. I think it's been pretty profound, because now it's so much harder to go away from my family than it's ever been before. As you guys all know, it's so when I do play, I feel like I really want to make the most of the moment, because I know like what the cost of what that is to my family, and how much I'm missing them. So I feel like when I am playing, there's just more of like a weight to, like, I'm an instrumentalist. I wish I could sing like Dan, so I just play stringed instruments, but I just feel like my phrasing has changed in a way of it's just more like direct. Like I just want to get these like succinct emotions out in a way that I'm feeling. And I've also like never like really experienced like love, and this, like, now my capacity for love is like this ocean now,
blown
how
open.
much I love my kids. And so when we play tunes that are expressing that, like that emotion, I mean, some of that could just be age too, but I just feel like, I just get like super emotional up on stage,
Yeah.
It's pretty, I don't know, I can't imagine like how dorky I look, but it's just so real, because I just like, I feel, I just feel some of these very human emotions in such a more profound and way now with kids. Like, and it just happened. Like I'd heard some people talk about it, and I was sort of would just smile, but now I'm like, oh man, I get it.
Yeah.
And, so that's been a big thing in my mind, like phrasing and developing like musical ideas over time, and also trying to like, what I really try to do is like get to a place where the music just takes over and I'm just like a conduit for it. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's actually happening more, even though I may be playing a little bit less, and I just feel like I'm getting to that place a little bit faster than I used to, like even if the venues, we've been talking about all these amazing venues, but it's not always like that, right? Sometimes like everything's breaking on stage, which is like basically like every show,
And mic
like,
stands going.
yeah, exactly. Like I'm surprised my computer hasn't shut off. And like now I'm just like, I'm not distracted by that stuff anymore. Like you could cut off all my monitors. I don't care. Like I'm going to play, like I'm going to throw it out there. And that's been a cool thing. It's like if I'm away from my kids and I'm going to go up on stage, I'm going to try my best to like really
make it count,
make the most of it. Where I think I was much more like finicky when it was just me and I was living just in my own world of my musical aspirations and all the hard, all my musical pressures I put on myself. I just feel like I'm kind of cutting through all that BS now, and just in a way that's a little different.
I'll be honest with you, Andrew. That's a palpable energy that you're putting out, and it's honestly been inspirational for me to want to, because I remember you said that you're like, if we're like leaving the house, like we got to make the most, like it has to be like the best, like let's do the best with everything that we can. And I think that's been like a night, it's been refreshing, and it's been motivating for sure. I feel that vibe, bro, no doubt.
And one thing you were saying, you probably look weird.
We love that shit.
Love watching music faces. You all need to know that.
Yeah.
You need to know it when someone's
the crazier the better,
and they're in their vibe or in their groove or feeling it. It's such a great thing. I look at
like one of the craziest. Well, not I was gonna say worst, but one of the craziest ever. Watching Joe Cocker perform.
Oh, yeah.
contortion, like I mean, let it all out. man.
I have like a ridiculous amount of Trey Anastasio shots on my phone of him like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a million of them. So please keep doing it, man.
Totally.
Don't
Yeah.
stop on our account.
Having kids connects you in a real, like, in a visceral kind of a way to life.
Yeah.
That you just don't get.
I'll say for me and Dan too, because I don't have kids or anything. Kids affect everybody like that. We just saw this last weekend, saw String Cheese Incident, and this is every show I've ever gone to. When you see the little kid, like a toddler with the headphones on, and they're with their parents, and the look on their parents' face to have their kid at their favorite shows with them, and to see those kids dancing, but the dancing, they're getting it more than we are because they're just so
They're not worried
innocent.
about what
They're
they're
little
feeling it.
sponges. It's the best
purity.
thing in the world.
Yes, the purity.
Yeah.
Damn, you guys. Well,
That was
Yeah.
really fast.
that went really, really fast.
You did push record, didn't you, Aaron?
Yes,
Oh,
I did. I did. Any
Well,
plans to come out west?
Well, they're
I
almost.
hope so.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
There's a plan, but not in the works yet.
Okay,
Right?
all right.
We heard that earlier.
Well, you guys know the Pacific Northwest up here is beautiful. We would love to see
you
you
have
up
a
this
home
way.
and
place
a
to
crew and a community waiting for you.
That's right.
With open arms.
We will see you soon.
Yeah,
Right on,
man.
you guys. All right.
Sounds very beautiful.
Thank you for sharing all of that.
well,
yeah.
Like that's really personal and awesome and inspiring all in the same.
And then just so that we're at the anything else you want to tell anybody, where would people that haven't heard of you go to look you up or anything? Anything else you want to throw
Follow
out?
you on our favorite social media.
We're the only Danger Muffin.
yes, you are, which I love that. That's a hard thing to find nowadays, being the only.
Is there a Danger Muffin website?
yeah, Danger Muffin.
Yeah, dangermuffinmusic.com. We just put out the album on Friday. Like I said, we're getting active on social media to the best of our ability. And just super stoked to share this with anyone that's vibing. You know, I do think, to sum it up, right, we do live in this crazy changing world, but it's up to us as a community to like heal. And I think, you know, Langhorne Slim said it on Saturday, music is the best magic we have in life. And, you know, we have to heal. So
Wow.
I think that's the whole point of it for us.
We will leave it at that, man.
That's
you
great.
guys, thanks
for
so
sharing
much.
that.
Yeah, Andrew, good to see you again.
Yeah,
and
man.
Dan,
Hey,
good to meet you.
Let's not wait 5 more years.
No.
I know.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll let you all know a day or two before this comes out, okay?
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, congrats on your success too, guys. It's
Thank
been
you, brother.
awesome. You know,
Thank you, Andrew.
I try to check in with you guys. You know, it's nice. I got lots of time in airports and cars, and I love listening to you guys.
We got
Right
you, man.
on.
Thank you,
Thank
brother.
you.
Appreciate
what you guys
Beautiful
do,
chat,
man.
you guys. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Same.
We'll talk to you soon.
Right on, guys.
All right, take care.
Take care, brothers.
Aw.
Thank you.
That was dope.
Sweetie
Yeah.
hearts.
Wow. I didn't expect that. I guess I don't
Well, that was
expect
really-
anything, but
I was looking really forward to talking to Andrew, and I'm glad that Dan was able to join too to get
Yeah,
the
I didn't-
perspective
that
from
was
both of
cool.
them. And yeah, that was what a fun conversation. That went all over.
more and more, I know we've said this before about No Simple Road, but more and more, I really do realize that we are a jam band.
Yeah.
Like for real, no bullshit.
No, we're part of the community. We were just
No. That's
Aaron,
not what
fetch is
we were
not going
just
to be a thing.
improvising and
Yeah,
playing
that part.
Yeah,
of it.
I didn't finish, but no, exactly. Yeah,
I have no idea what we're going to talk about when we get on with
And
people.
that's
Beyond
the
like,
beauty of it.
oh, you have a new album out. That's all I got.
Yeah,
And
we have
like,
liner notes.
Yeah, and to like, I've been more conscious since lately in the conversation. Now I can tell when the jam is happening.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, the jam's happening.
It's free form.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't know, but none of us, 5 of us knew it was going to go here. And now we're just going with it. And that led into this. And
That's pretty cool,
like
man.
when Dan said, "I just humor me. I have one little tangent.
Please.
This will just take a
the
second."
solo, man.
And that was like
Dan,
that was
it's
like
a podcast, man.
that was
We
like a
want to hear it.
15-minute solo. That ended up being like a 15-minute improvisational solo that was thrown around the room.
brother. All right, everybody. Danger Muffin. The new album is out now. It's called Danger Muffin. Yeah. Bet you didn't see that coming. It is out on all the streaming platforms. Make sure you go see them if they come through your town.
Check out Luminous Teacher.
Yeah.
You will love it.
Go listen to that one. And well, actually, I played a little bit of it at the beginning. Maybe. I don't know. I might change my mind when we get there. Who knows?
Yeah.
And then take care of each other. Smile at a stranger.
Take care of yourself so you can take care of one another.
Safety third. Hydrate. And you know what? Just because it's not spring doesn't mean it's not time to garden. All right? I'm just saying. You can plant late summer stuff. There's a whole schedule. You can actually look it up online for the area that you live in, what to plant at this time of year.
And
so
you know what?
grow yourself some food, man.
Sometimes when you think something shitty happened, it can turn out really good.
Yeah, that too. We love y'all. Peace. Oops, that didn't work. Let me try that again. Peace.
But it's a burden. Family needs has been deferred, and hella means been the earth, and alchemy can bring the birth, the melody of a newborn. So persistent, so resistant, so insistent, so commitment, so resilient, or haven't you learned it? No simple road. Shattered as I focus through the spot in the corner that is still intact. The react is both a defense mechanism as well as a fear. We've traveled this road before, so we may think, but it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A equal A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
Hi, this is Henry K., host of the #1 music history podcast, Rootsland. Come with me on a journey to Kingston, Jamaica, where we explore the world of reggae music and the untold stories of some of the genre's greatest legends. From the ghettos and tenement yards where the music was born, to the island's iconic recording studios. We are so excited to team up with Osiris Media, the leading storyteller in music, because as you'll hear, sometimes the story is the best song.